Hi everyone, welcome to Sweet Pea Sewing. I'm Caroline, and today I'd like to talk to you about blouses for #SewAprilBlouse25, a challenge that's being run over on Instagram by Tamlin from Sewn on the Time and Gabrielle at Cloth Edit. And basically, as you can see by the rules here, you need to make a blouse during April using only woven fabric. You can't use knit, just woven. You'll post your entry on Instagram and use the hashtag #SewAprilBlouse25 when you post your blouse. And also follow and tag Tamlin, again, Sewn on the Time, and Gabrielle at Cloth Edit, and you must do this by April 30th, 2025. And I just posted my entries today, which actually is Friday, April 25th. I think I'll be posting this video tomorrow, Saturday, April 26th. But yeah, I wanted to go through a bit of a different blouse idea that I had, and that is tunics. Now, when you think of a blouse, you don't necessarily think of a tunic. In fact, in a way, tunics are like shirts. And I looked into some of the history of tunics, and they very much are like shirts. Usually men wore them, and they were a very basic tunic with just arms and straight down, no decoration whatsoever. And it wasn't until the 14th century the loose-fitting tunic style was replaced with the fitted body garment. And nowadays the word tunic often refers to a long blouse. Over time, the tunic silhouette has changed depending on gender. A woman's tunic became distinctly different from a man's. And it's just wonderful what you can do with a tunic. And I'm going to go through a number of the patterns that I have found, and then my actual two tunics that I made up here. So what I've got to show you, let's start. So here is the first tunic from Itch to Stitch. It's called the Vikos top, and it can be made into a dress as well. And it looks like really all tunics can easily be made into dresses. Just there is no waistline on them, so you just add length. You've got yourself a beautiful dress. Now with the Vikos top from Itch to Stitch, cup sizes for a tailored fit, 2 lengths, top or knee length, 3 sleeve variations, pull-on design, no zippers or buttons, and designed for light to medium weight woven fabrics. And sizes 0 to 40. And here's the size chart. So that is a really cute little tunic, and I think I'm going to get that pattern and give it a go. And here's a couple of free ones, and I like to always think of free ones when I'm doing challenges like this. I had no idea there were so many free patterns until we did Sew Frugal in March. Which reminds me what I'm wearing. This is a free pattern, the Anca blouse from fabricstore.com. And as a newish sewist, I've been sewing about 4, almost 5 months now. It was great. It was, I don't want to say easy because nothing's easy for me when it comes to sewing, but I really didn't run into any obstacles. And I think it turned out well. This is thrifted linen. It's really held up very well. I'm a great thrifter, and if I can find fabric to sew something up in from a thrift find, I will do so. The next tunic is the Molina tunic, and this one is from Mood Fabrics, and you can either have the tie or plain. I like it basically without the tie. But the idea is that you can do what you want with a tunic. That is one of the wonderful things about them, is that you can add or subtract or whatever you want to do, and we'll see that more as we go in. The Molina It ranges in size from 2 to 30, so it's very size inclusive. And you only need 2 yards of fabric. There's a lot of fabrics. They recommend navy polyester peach skin, so I think you could make this in so many different kinds of woven fabrics. The next one, this one also is from Mood Fabrics, is called the Vallea tunic. And again, it's free. And this one sort of follows your more basic style of tunic with the 3/4 length sleeves and it coming down just to the top of the thighs and that. But again, something like that can be a great base to a lot of other things. Jewelry, scarves, that kind of thing. Bracelets, it really does lend itself well to dressing it up so much, especially if you just have a solid color, nice linen or something like that. Now these next two are from Store Anca. I love Store Anca, even though I haven't attempted their patterns yet. I have a few of them sitting in the wings waiting. This is the Max Tunic dress. And Store Anca, if you're familiar with them, they're out of Australia. They're very size inclusive, size 4 to 36. And they recommend linen, silk, crepe, soft cotton. I could see this in a beautiful cotton or linen. And again, you can lengthen it. You could put fabulous different buttons on it to dress it up. And so many different types of fabrics in the Max Tunic. The next one, this one's a little more girly, if you'd like to call it that. It's from Store Anca, and it's the Jules tunic. Now this has got a bit of a peplum on it, which makes it look very pretty, I think. And I was a bit surprised they actually call it a tunic, and I can see how, but this is how flexible tunics have become. Easy fit, extended shoulder finish with a back turn cuff, full front opening, low back yoke. Fabric suggestion, linen, crepe, rayon, and cotton. So again, a really nice looking tunic. And then the final one that I've chosen before I talk about my makes and that pattern is one of the big four. Simplicity 1461. I really love the look of this tunic. Again, there are so many options here. You've got 6 options there. And on the option that the model is wearing, she's got some kind of beautiful lace. I'm not exactly sure how you would do that, but that placket, you could do it in so many different ways and just change the look of the blouse incredibly just by changing the placket. She's also got a bit of it around the cuffs here, which again adds such a difference and change. So let's talk about my makes here. Now, when I started the year, I did a make 9 and a make 5, and my make 9 is all commercial big 4 patterns. But I thought, oh, I would really like to do some independent ones as well. So I decided to do a small make 5 as well, which now I'm sort of regretting because that's a lot. But I'm marching my way through it, and you know what? If I don't get it done, I don't get it done. It doesn't matter. But on my list of independent ones is a tunic from the Tunic Bible. And I have talked about this in earlier videos, so you may have seen it. I know Janine from Janine Sews has made 1, if not 2, tunics from here. And yeah, it's a great book. But I'm gonna talk about a few things with it. The pros. No, let's talk about the cons first. It is not size inclusive. It goes from extra small to extra, extra large, which kind of sounds size inclusive, but really isn't. Not at all. And actually, it doesn't really sound size inclusive, does it? Extra, extra large is a bust of 47.5. That's not very size inclusive. waist of 43, and hips of 49.5. So you'd have to do some major adjustments and amendments to try and make this fit. I mean, it's disappointing in that respect. It really is. So I really wish that they would. I think this was published in, it's been around for a while, 2016 or something like that. Now the authors are Sarah Gunn and Julie Starr. I should make note of that. My other complaint with this pattern book, as a new-ish, you know, I really am a newish. I mean, every time I start a pattern, there is a part of it I have never encountered before, or if I have encountered it, it's done completely different than it was the first time. There are many ways to do things, and I find that all over the place with different things. So this has very minimal instructions. One of the things that I found was that they seemed to have an expectation, and I couldn't really find anything about it, but an expectation that you know how to construct a tunic. Not the placket and the collars necessarily, but they very, very minimal instructions as how to put the sleeves on and sew up the sides and that. No pictures or anything like that. So if I had done this way back when, I just would have thrown it to the side, because I did pick it up and read it, and I was like, obviously this was after I made my Make 5. But I thought, I'm going to persevere with this because I love the look of it and all of the options. So those are my two cons. It's not size inclusive, and the instructions are very minimal. They only have illustrations and very minimal illustrations. It would be so nice if it was done sort of like, you know, with pictures, Tilly and the Button style, cashmerette style, that kind of thing, a little bit more. And do you think I could find a sew along? Now, Janine from Janine Sews has a sew along, but I picked the placket I wanted, and she did a completely different placket that actually turns in. Mine turns out. So I was out to lunch on that, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. So I decided I was just going to persevere. Now, here are my two tunics. And I just want to point out, these are both thrifted, made of thrifted bedding. This was a top sheet, this one here, and the white one is a duvet, and the blue is a pillowcase. So totally thrifted. So I started with this one, and I use, and I've yet to find something that works as well, I use one of those pens. You can see the dart here, which I ended up taking out because the sizing was wrong. The sizing was too small. But anyways, you have to wash it, and I didn't get time to, so sort of just ignore those pen marks. And also, this one, when I took it off, I got makeup on it. But that aside, you can see from the pictures. So when I did this one, it was okay with the placket until I came to joining it to the collar. And then I struggled and struggled. And I don't even think I could tell you how I managed to attach that. And I watched many, many collar videos. I couldn't find a sew along anywhere that showed you exactly how to do a placket to collar. It was really hard. And it's hard to see it, although experts seem to just probably will. The placket is off center. You have to be very, very careful when you're attaching the placket. They do explain that part very well about how to make sure that this is centered and stays centered going down. And so this was meant to be a mock-up, and it is, but I will wear it. It is a little bit too tight. I made this as a large, and pattern sizing is all over the place, and I have finally got to the point where I actually measure the pattern pieces. against my actual size. And I've heard this before, but I seem to have some blind faith that I should size down because I keep hearing about, oh, the pattern's really big. But they're not talking about these patterns. They're talking about Style Arc or some other pattern. So I think it's sunk in. So I actually measure off. I just finished the Lyric dress by Love Notions, and my body size, there's only a difference of an inch between my bust and my waist. And then my hips go out by about another 3 inches. So I'm 42, 41, 44. So I don't see that shape very often. And so when I was making the Lyric dress, I think a 42 bust had like a 38 waist. So there was a big difference between that and 41. So I had to adjust for it, but I figured that out by measuring the actual pattern pieces. So that was something I have heard again and again, different videos that I've watched, and it finally sunk in that I must make sure, especially for woven, that I'm measuring correctly. Now in this one, it wasn't so key because it's just straight. There's not any specific waist, although it was a little tight around here. But the large had a 40.5 bust, and the finished garment was 43.5. So I'm 42, so that did not give me much ease. What I ended up doing, it was before I serged it, I actually ended up taking out the side seams and going with a much smaller seam allowance. So I can wear it. You can see from the pictures that it looks okay, but it is a little bit tight across the bust. So that was my first mock-up. And I thought, well, I've mastered that collar. I'm gonna make another one, and it's gonna be a breeze. Yeah, no. So, mock-up number 2, and this is why I love using thrifted material, especially bed sheets. Yeah, so the placket was great, and I made sure that it was straight and everything like that. Now, what I didn't think of was the contrast, because the contrast, there is no contrast. Even though it looks nice, you can see the placket and the collar, but because it's all the same material, you can't really see any boo-boos or anything like that. Oh boy, it was glaring with this one. Very glaring. And I think I spent longer trying to make this collar work than I did on that one. So it's definitely something I'm going to have to practice. I do love the look of these tunics. They're just such a classic, and you can make them, you can dress them up. I mean, this one is quite a dressy one, in my opinion, and this one is way more casual. You could wear this with jeans and whatever, but this would look amazing with, you know, a similar blue skirt or jeans or a white skirt. Just, it would be really nice. Now in the book, and I'll put a picture up, they actually did the cuffs. Most of them have trim here and along the bottom that match the placket, but by the time I was done the placket, I was fed up. I was fed up. And so I just finished it off and thought, you know what, I'm not going to do any more on it. But I can see how the same blue, would look very nice with it and would be very complimentary. And just, I'll put a picture up of all the different designs that they have in the book. Just gorgeous how you can make it look so different. So it was a big learning experience, and this kind of collar and placket was probably way beyond my skill set, but I forged ahead. I'm a Taurus, so I'm very stubborn, and I made it work. And I like it. I like it on. I think it looks very classic, and yeah, I'll definitely be making more of these. They have a whole bunch in the book where you do dresses and the sleeveless tunics. with just the placket. Beautiful. You can make them out of cotton and linens and knits. Every fabric you can make it out of. So it's a very, very versatile kind of garment. And as I have said at the beginning, the feminization of it is where I think it really becomes a blouse. From the most basic look, like a shirt, no buttons though, but like a shirt, to making it look so pretty, and so many different options. Yeah, so I really hoped you enjoyed that, and you'll maybe look into making a tunic for yourself. And I know Janine, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but I think it was last year she did actually a challenge in the fall, and I wasn't sewing at that point. I had no idea about the sewing, the YouTube sewing community, and I would have been in on that. Janine, if you're watching this, please do it again. It was basically just a bit of a tunic challenge, and I just think it would be so fun because I just think it's a fantastic garment. So that ends my presentation for, I've always got to look at how it's spelled out, Sew April Blouse 25. And again, I really like to thank Tamlin and Gabrielle and all of the sponsors that have provided amazing, amazing gifts. And if I win, I would love it. If I don't, I'm so thrilled to be part of these challenges. I just really love them, and they force me to do things that I probably would shy away from. So that is something that I really, really enjoy about all the challenges that have come down the pike. So please give me a like. I would love to hear your comments on what you think of tunics and whether you've made them and what your thoughts are, if you've maybe dressed them up a bit with different colors or what you've done with them. And most of all, I would love it if you would subscribe, and that'll help my channel grow, and you can come back and see more. Love to share this time with you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.